Matt Ellis, Principal of Calderdale and Kirklees Recovery and Wellbeing College. I've worked in mental health for 20 years and I've met a lot of people in that time. I have always been interested in how people overcome trauma, ill health and personal difficulties to find a new life, a life worth living. It is a privilege to be part of or watch someone's journey to recovery and well-being. We live in uncertain and challenging times in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Many of us have had bereavements of loved ones, sometimes unable to attend their funerals, or we might be anxious about our own or our family's health, or the potential of catching the virus itself. Many people have lost their jobs or income. Any of us might find ourselves in a difficult place. So the question is, how do we remain well and become resilient to the hard knocks in life? I've been lucky enough to talk to a number of people who, despite of their own mental and personal difficulties, have found balance in their lives. What strikes me about these people is that they have found a path out of the mire, in some cases out of the most desperate despair. It was not medication or a professional intervention that necessarily made a difference, but something they changed and decided to do. These people are inspiring, but they are also like me, like you. They are normal people with extraordinary insights on the human condition. Their voices need to be heard more than ever. So carry on watching and listening as I explore the hidden and unreported stories of these inspiring people, one person at a time.
I was suffering with quite severe depression and anxiety. It was one of those, I felt like I'd lost everything, I didn't have a job, and I was just dreading getting up because I didn't have anything going on in my life other than feeling depressed. I used to sit there and I'd just watch the clock going round and I'd be counting down so I could go to sleep. To me at the time, gym wasn't for me, but I thought, I'm desperate, I'll try anything. When you're suffering with a mental health problem, your whole life is about that mental health problem. Just having that pressure taken off you that you don't have to be running for 45 minutes on a treadmill. I was going out more, my confidence was building, I was feeling like I could achieve things that I didn't think I could before.
Hi, I'm Matt Ellis. I've got a grand title of Recovery College Principal. We cover Kirklees and Calderdale, and we're going to be spending some time today talking to Sarah. This is Sarah. Hiya, Sarah.
Hiya.
Hiya. So Sarah's recently started working for the Recovery College, but before we talk about what role Sarah does, I thought it'd be really good to hear Sarah's story really about why she feels physical activity is important and how it's helped her live a life worth living. So Sarah, can you tell us how you got started on this journey towards physical activity?
Yeah, so I would definitely describe it as a journey. So I first sort of started properly getting into exercise and activity when I was going through a really, really difficult time in my life. So I was suffering with quite severe depression and anxiety, and it was one of those, I felt like I'd lost everything. I didn't have a job, I didn't have any money, and I wasn't leaving the house either, so I wasn't going out. And I've been feeling like that way for quite some time. And it was getting to the point where my days, I was waking up and I just think another day, and I was just dreading getting up because I didn't have anything going on in my life, other than feeling depressed. And I used to sit there, and I think it's probably one of the saddest things about my journey is I'd sit there and I'd just watch the clock going round and I'd be counting down so I could go to sleep until it was like an acceptable bedtime, because I knew that if I were asleep I wouldn't be feeling depressed. And I'd been like that for, I'd say, months. And I don't know really, I think just one day something just clicked and I just thought, I can't continue getting on, I can't live like this, it's just no life, I'm not living, I'm existing.
How long did
Um,
that go on for, Sarah? How long did you feel like that?
about 4 months, and
Okay, quite a while then.
that was probably one of actually when I was starting to feel better as well. So that was actually better than I had been. So that was actually a positive at the time, that I wasn't feeling just where I just couldn't even get out of bed. So at least I was getting out of bed. So it,
Yeah,
it'd been quite tough, and was very, very anxious. So I wasn't, I didn't want to go out. And even if I did go out, I didn't really have anything to do or anywhere to go. I didn't have any money. I totally lost my confidence. And right at the beginning of being ill, my CPN had said about, exercise and how it's good for you, but she hadn't really said too much about it. And with me not leaving the house, I got an exercise bike. I'd go on it now and again. But I was by no means fit, and I put on quite a lot of weight from the medication, which is also making me feel quite down.
yeah.
And my life was just eating and sleeping. Anyway, I just thought, something's got to change, something's got to give. And someone had just mentioned about a program, like a gym program that you could go to if you had health problems, that they try and get you into exercise. So
Yeah.
I've got a shoulder injury, so I thought, I'm going to go to my GP and ask about that. But it was a bit of a sort of last resort, really, and I thought, it might even help with my mental health. Anyway, when I went to the GP, they mentioned about a program specifically for people with mental health problems, getting them into exercise. And I got sort of, he said about getting a gym buddy, which to me, like going to the gym, it was like, to me, it felt like the gym was just torture. It just not something I ever really wanted to do. I've joined gyms before, and just, it's not, to me at the time, gym wasn't for me. But I thought, I'm desperate, I'll try
Yeah.
anything. So that's how I started, really. I started going to that program, and things really started changing from there. It
So
changed my life.
so I mean, I'm not one for gyms at all, so I can relate to that. Actually, the only time I did, I went with my wife years ago, and I think I spent more time in the jacuzzi than anywhere else, really. So what? I suppose a lot of people will be scared of gyms. I understand that. So what was the sort of like the thought process at home for you to make that move? What sort of motivated you to sort of go to the gym and
I think, well, at first it was just desperation. I think, and it was just something like, at first I just thought it's something to actually get out of the house for. And I think by going to the gym, I almost felt normal in a way, because I was doing something that normal people do.
okay,
Even just sort of the action of actually getting on the bus and going to the gym, it was like a normal thing that someone would do, where I'd not really felt like I'd fit in anywhere. I was very, very, felt quite isolated, and, I didn't really have anything else
yeah.
going on at the time. So that just feeling of normality, I think initially, that's what sort of got me going in the first place.
And you said it was a special program as well for people that might be struggling a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit more about the program and what difference that made to you going to the gym?
Yeah, I mean, that was fantastic. I sort of got a gym buddy, and she was part personal trainer. So the first time I went to the gym, she actually met me, and it was, I think the program lasted for either 6 or 8 weeks. So over that period, every time I went to the gym, she would meet me, and she would come in the gym with me. So she didn't just set me up a program, but she would, throughout my whole routine, she'd stay there, which that was really, really helpful. Because I think, even now, I think even going to the gym, I still think they can be quite intimidating places. And
Mhm.
particularly if you feel like, you don't really know what you're doing, or you're feeling like you're a bit overweight, and especially if even more if you're anxious. So I think that was
Yeah.
ideal for that, having that point of contact. And I mean, when I first started out, it was I didn't do much exercising as such. It was like maybe 5 minutes on the bike, 5 minutes on the rowing machine, 10 minutes on the treadmill. So it was really, really low. It was very gradual progress. But I think it was just actually having someone there to talk to, about something normal. So I
Yeah.
think, unfortunately, when you're suffering with a mental health problem, your whole life is about that mental health problem, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"How are you feeling today? What have you been doing today?
Yeah.
How's you been? Where is she?" But like, did you watch Coronation Street last night? Or she just thought of just a normal conversation. So I think it was almost like at first just a bit of a break from being ill, and then it just obviously it built up then, and it was something that I'd sort of set my day and my life around going to the gym. It was that routine, and it was that's what I was going to do that day, and it was just fantastic because I literally just felt I had nothing else to get up for, and
So
nothing.
did these sort of activities, you said you spent a little bit of time on things, did they sort of gradually build up, or was there a big sort of event where you thought, oh great, I'm going to do it now? Or how did that work?
It was very gradual, and I just started really getting into doing more sort of strength and core when, unfortunately, I actually had appendicitis. So it sort of I was getting to
Blimey.
a level where I was just about ready and ready and raring to go, and with an operation like that, you're really really weak. So I'd had
Yeah.
unfortunately a bit of a setback, so I sort of had to start over again and just again be even more gradual than it was before. But it was I think that's what I needed. And I think when you have got a mental health problem, just having that pressure that, taken off you, that you don't have to be running for 45 minutes on a treadmill, you
Mm.
don't have to be lifting loads of weights, that you can just take it at your own
Yeah.
pace, you can, that gradual build up. I think that was ideal for me, really. I think if it had been anything like more full on than that, I think I'd have probably been quite terrified.
It sounds like that buddy was really important to you, having that contact there was really important.
Yeah, it was. I mean, she was absolutely fantastic, and it was strange, really, because when I actually fully had recovered from the appendicitis, and when I was like fully going to the gym, and when I was at a level where I was building up to weights and going for like an hour and a half, I actually started going on my own. So I had that confidence then to go on my own, which
Yeah.
for me was perfect, because I then, as I started going to the gym, other things started clicking in place in my life. Like, that's when I think my life changed with that gym, because I was going out more, my confidence was building, I was feeling like I could achieve things that I didn't think I could before. So
Yeah.
in general, life was picking up, and I actually started work, which was something that, was, again, something was really, really terrifying. And I think starting a new job's stressful, but it's even more stressful if you've got a mental health problem. So
Mm.
I'd start to use the gym as like my little outlet, my quiet time, my relaxation time. So it started off with being really social, but then I think it became a bit antisocial in the gym.
Hmm. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I was going to ask you about this link between sort of mental health and physical health, and what do you think it is about that link? Because I think now more than before, I think it's recognised, isn't it? Sort of like being physically active, getting out of your house. It doesn't have to be down the gym. It can be for a walk or a run or a cycle ride or whatever it is. I mean, I know for myself, especially with COVID-19, the thing that's kept me sane is probably all the walking I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So what do you think in your situation? How would you describe that connection between mental and physical health? Can we even separate them off? I don't know.
Well, I do think they do go hand in hand, and I think it's not just the actual exercise that like it is that whole, that having that routine, having that structure, getting up and thinking, do you know what, I have actually got something to get up for. And I think when I first started, it didn't feel like exercise. I knew I was exercising, but it didn't feel like exercising. It just felt like something that was a break. And then I think it just gave me a lot more energy, which was something, again, I was really struggling with, I was either oversleeping or not being able to get off to sleep. So it gave me more energy. which I think the energy makes you feel a bit happier. And I was sleeping a lot better as well. And I think I started off having that structure and routine and just the happy vibes. I mean, I know people talk about these happy vibes from going to the gym, but they do exist. And I wouldn't have, if someone had said 10 years ago, I'd be sitting there saying you can get happy vibes from going to the gym. Honestly, I'd have just laughed. But I really do believe you get happy vibes, happy endorphins, and there is a massive link. And as you were saying with the lockdown, I obviously was aware that something like the lockdown could be a really big trigger for my mental health. And I had to really say to myself, I'm not going to get ill with this. I'm not going to let my mental health suffer. And the only way I know how to make sure my mental health is okay is by being active and exercising. So I really made it a priority.
Great. I mean, we do talk in the Recovery College about what we term wellness tools. So it's like physical activity seems to be one of your biggest wellness tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's worth. I'm just thinking about people that might be watching this that may be in a similar situation to them, and I wondered. I never like giving advice because in case it's wrong and people blame me for giving them poor advice, but we're going to give you a pass if you like. So if you could talk to yourself back then, all those years ago, can I say years ago?
It was years ago. Yeah, it has been a very long journey, but yeah.
Because you were told quite a lot of stuff that you weren't. I mean, I know a little bit about your story, but you were told that you weren't able to even get a job at one point, I think.
Yeah.
And what just thinking back into that situation when you're at home and you're low, what would you say to Sarah back then, and maybe to other people that might find themselves in a similar state? What sort of advice would you give them?
Well, I think when I look back, the biggest regret is, for me, the thing that stands out the most is the watching of the clock. And I literally would sit there and I just think, to me, I look back and I think now that's really, really sad, but that's just how I felt. So I think that the advice I give is to just push yourself, really, that, you can achieve things that you've been telling yourself that you're never going to be able to do again, that other people are probably telling you that you're not capable of doing, and to take it completely at your own pace. And sometimes it is 10 steps forward and 20 steps back, but you will get there.
Yeah.
I mean, let me put it into sort of just explain a little bit about me and the gym. I would say I'm possibly the most uncoordinated, clumsy person you will ever meet. I really am. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing at the gym. I didn't even know what to wear. I had to say to my friend, what do I even wear to the gym? Like, I just didn't, I knew it would be comfy, like tracksuit clothes, but I just thought, well, what sort of footwear do I need? I'm totally clueless.
Yeah.
And just, if I can work out, if I can exercise, and I can go to the gym, then seriously anyone can. And I really do believe that, because the coordination and the confidence, and I was really, really, really low, but obviously not now. It's my tool now, my secret weapon.
It's interesting, actually. I've been reading a book by someone called Simon Reeve, just by chance, and he's an author and a traveller. He's actually the same age as me as well, so I can relate to a lot of what he's saying. But he when he was younger, in his sort of in teenage years, he went through quite severe depression, and he went to a job centre, and a lady at the job centre just gave him a piece of advice. She said, just take one step at a time, just one step at a time. And he said at the time it didn't really mean much to him, but looking back, it became his mantra for getting better. And he actually he knew he just needed to do something, and he just went up to Scotland, hired a car, and just walked up a mountain, and he kept this mantra going, one step at a time, until he got to the top. And he was totally inappropriately dressed. He had his jeans and a rack, and it was getting dark, and the hikers were coming down, tutting at him, for not taking the right equipment. But he felt like he achieved something for the first time in a lot of years, and something changed within him. And it's a very sort of, it reminds me of your story really a little bit about just take that one step, because you don't know where that's going to lead, and just keeping that movement forward. But if you get a chance to read his book, it's very good actually. I do recommend it.
Yeah, I'll have a look. But I mean, it is very much about one step, and you're going to have setbacks as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't have all the answers, and sometimes like I can't be bothered. I'll be honest with you, I can't be bothered. Some days my shoulder's really, really painful, and just sort of moving around the house is an achievement. It's all these little things. It doesn't have to be this like mega workout or even going to the gym. It can just be walking the house.
Yeah, and I suppose one of the things as well that I've come aware of is a lot of people want to be back to where they were before, and anything less than that is a failure. And it's like a bit of a mind trap, really. And I'm always saying, yeah, but it doesn't matter how fast you get to your destination. It just matters that you're traveling in the right direction. Yeah.
I remember when you're saying about being back to the way I was before. I remember when I was at the clock watching phase, I just used to almost like beg the universe just to have my life back, and that's all I wanted, was to have my life back to before I was ill. And I think it wasn't until I recovered, or felt like I was recovering, that I actually realised that life I had before, there was quite a lot of changes that actually I needed to make. And I'd say around about that time, when I actually, sort of looking back now, when I started going to the gym and started getting into exercise, that's probably when like I'd hit the reset button, and actually I built a new life from there. And initially the life was very much around going to the gym, but it very much went from there. And like now I just think, I haven't got my old life back, and I'm actually quite glad I haven't got that back, because now I've got pretty much a new life with much more positive, in particular positive coping strategies. And I've actually gained a lot more from recovering than what I had from before.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you. With really, a lot of people say that to me, and that's certainly true in my own life, that sometimes the hardships and the difficulties makes you the person who you are, and you've got more of appreciation of maybe other people's suffering, and maybe gives meaning to my life, that to be able to help others in some small way, really. So talking about that, I think it'd be good to sort of maybe talk about your role with the Recovery College. So I mean, I interviewed you alongside Rachel and a volunteer called Ken. And for you really stood out for us because of the story that you've just told, really. You didn't tell us in such detail, because obviously it's an interview, but we were really excited by your story, because you were exactly the person we were looking for, somebody that understood why activity was important and had used it as a way of recovery. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your job and the sort of things that you can support? Because it's almost like this story has got a lovely sort of circle to it, hasn't it, from beginning to end? And so anyway, I'm waffling. Go on, you tell us about your job.
Well, it was by a real chance actually that I came across the job, and I can't even quite remember how I found it, but I was sort of glancing through and I just saw Recovery College, and just said about we really want someone who's passionate about physical activity, and someone who's used it to recover from mental health. And I just thought, reading more about the person specification, I thought, that's me. And I remember like running down to my partner and I just said, just found the perfect job. I said, I've just found a job that it's like, I think it's pretty much made for me. So the job appealed to me because it felt very true to how I was, this idea of how we can use physical activity to support recovery. So obviously I applied, went to the interview and got the job. So my role is very much, I really do understand, I think, first of all, how difficult it is to get into activity. And it's not easy, but I also do know just how rewarding it is and how much it's done for my life. And really, I want to work with people so that I can promote that, so that I can spread that message, so that I can support people in getting to where I am. And just, whether that be that, I support them by them just walking to the end of the street and building up from there, or whether it's kind of supporting people to take that step to go to the gym. I'd really like to be looking, and supporting people with taking those steps and looking at how I can go about doing that. And yeah, so that's my role.
That's great. Well, it's great to have you on board, Sarah, and just want to thank you for your time really this afternoon. Because you're not in your usual working hours. We've managed to get you
in unusual
on a Friday afternoon. You what? Sorry.
In unusual times, we have to respond.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do want to see find out more about Recovery College, we'll put some details on the end of this video. So or you can click on the links below. We'll put this in our YouTube channel and share it on social media. So hopefully people will get to know about Sarah's story. So feel free to share far and wide. That's okay with you, is it, Sarah?
That is fine, and please get in touch on social media, or phone us, email us, because I'd really like to be talking to you a bit more about my journey and how I can be supporting you as well, and how Recovery College might be able to fit into your recovery journey.
Absolutely. We've got a publication coming out soon, but again, just click on the links and it'll take you to the right place. Well, thanks again, Sarah, and thank you everybody for watching or listening or whatever you're doing. We hope you found it interesting, this little discussion between me and Sarah. I've certainly enjoyed hearing Sarah's story again. I think it's always very inspiring to listen to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Goodbye.
Bye.